All right, so this is a crazy, huge launch for us at Get Signals, and I'm really excited to be bringing this to you now. So, for a very long time, we've been trying to look at the best way to introduce more robust campaign functionality around LinkedIn signals. So, we did a lot of that with lead forward, and when Get Signals came online, our focus was really around making signals run on autopilot and without using browser extensions or things like this. So going a bit backwards into the signal component, finding problem aware leads, finding prospects that are demonstrating some level of intent, monitoring and grabbing an audience from your competitor, thought leaders and influencers in your particular industry, going in and capturing their audience to make it your audience. So that's everything that we're doing with signals on autopilot on LinkedIn today. Now, part two of that is how do you make it actionable in the, easiest experience for a user? And that was the piece that we really have been working on for a while. So the easy answer is, okay, well, some type of LinkedIn automation. Okay, great. So we have integrations to a lot of players in the space and obviously with lead forward. But a lot of our users, wanted to try to keep everything inside their existing stack without having to go out and get, new tools in case, in a lot of cases where they're not using anything for LinkedIn outreach currently. And then the other piece that we started realizing too, even with anyone that's using any of these outside platforms, is a lot of the context gets lost. What particular content someone is engaging with, historically what they've been engaging with, if they're commenting on something, what it is that they're saying, all of these data points that our signals naturally have and can make use of. So a lot of this process was, okay, well, how do we make the best use of all of this enriched data, all of this, what would be actionable data inside of Get Signals. And today we have our new LinkedIn outreach campaigns ready to go. And that's what I'm going to quickly try to demo for you today without taking up too much of your time. So I actually, for the first time ever, made a list of things that I want to get through just because there's so many that I don't want to forget some of the big things. And a lot of, we're going to keep on putting content out, with this. So this is basically just an introduction so you can understand what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it. And then also some of the differences between us and some of the other players in the space. So right off the bat, what you're looking at right now, I'm going to start at, the front end of what you can get from a campaign, and then we'll work backwards through the setup process and a lot of the options. So this is a campaign that's already set up and actually running. It's being fed by a signal that I created that I'll also show you, but it's basically monitoring for anyone that's talking about cold email on LinkedIn. So today it brought in 15 different leads, and we're running it through the sequences right now. So going to the build side of things. So I have my LinkedIn account connected, and I do want to state now that the connections for LinkedIn accounts, this is just for campaigns. So all of your signals will still continue to run through our back end. It doesn't use your credentials or your account for anything related to signals. It's just for the outreach. And we deploy the same type of safety guardrails that other platforms in the space do. So you have a geolocated proxy automatically based on where you're homebound for your account. We have automated human-like pacing between all actions. We have, as you can see right now, daily limits that are imposed, and they're on the conservative side just to keep your account safe. Our organic account warm-up mode for new accounts, runs automatically to get you, progressively up to your daily limits. We have support for free accounts as well as premium accounts. With premium accounts that will unlock slightly more daily limits that you wouldn't have with a free account. It also unlocks the ability to send InMail. So I'll get to the action steps next, but everything that you would expect in terms of a safety package for your account, is built into Get Signals automatically. And the way that the plans will work is, it's a seat basis. So one seat equals one connected LinkedIn account. Now, getting back to campaigns. So in this particular campaign, and I'll show you the breakdown before I show the editor, we're doing a very simplistic cadence here. So we're enrolling our contacts from the signal into the campaign. Step 1, view profile. Step 2, follow profile. Step 3, react as post. And one thing I'll call out here is one of the unique elements of our approach to LinkedIn outreach versus some of our competitors is when you react to a post, we give the option of doing it with your personal profile, or you can actually engage as a company page that you're the administrator of. And I really like doing this because I've started, working on a playbook for the past few months of trying to get more visibility for our company pages by engaging with posts, either reacting or commenting on as the company. And I've actually gotten a lot of traffic going to our LinkedIn page using that approach. So in terms of visibility of getting your brand out there, because people do look at, who's commenting or who's liking on posts, and, certain comments, especially as they get more impressions, also get moved up to like the default view that someone will see when they're looking at comments. So it's actually really good for visibility. So one differentiator for us, again, you can comment or react using your company page versus just your profile that's connected. And now getting on with that, you also have the ability to comment on posts. So again, with Get Signals, since we do have the context of a post, and everything with the signal starts with some level of post data, whether it's a post author or whether it's someone reacting to a post, we have context around different content in a specific post that someone is engaging with. So, what I like to do when I'm going after, any target that is a post author, like in this case, someone that's talking about cold email, right? They're going to see that, Get Signals reacted, and then can also be the Get Signals comments, right? So in this case, and I'm not talking about like AI slop style commenting where, you're like a poorly formatted prompt is putting together like 2 paragraphs of nonsense just to throw up on a comment. So you can say that you commented that has absolutely no context or weight to what is actually being discussed inside the post. I'm not talking about that. In a lot of cases, what I'll specifically look for is, maybe a post that's mentioning competitors or a series of competitors, like a listicle style, where someone's like laying out the particular tech stack that they're using. And I'll mention, the particular author in the post. And then I may mention, that tagging Get Signals, our company page, can also, help with social signals or something like this. Again, just to get some visibility out there, get the company name out there, and at the same time, be in front of the audience, not just the post author, but an audience that's also looking at people that are, working with a certain set of technical solutions. And it's worked really well because in a lot of cases, I've had, post authors then reach out about, testing the utility, including us in, like their future examinations of different solutions. So all of that to say, comments can be very good. It can be very good as well of when you are, or as well as when you're putting together a cadence that's following a specific post. So you're liking the post, you're commenting on the post, maybe then you're sending an invite like we are here to the post author. So all of these things working together around the same post. Now, you do have options for scraping engagement off of posts with like other platforms, but that's a manual process. You have to go onto LinkedIn, you got to find the post that's relevant, you got to copy the share link, and then you go and dump it into, the campaign builder for, some of our competitors in this space. And then that process begins. Whereas with Signals, it's just constantly monitoring for those types of posts. It's capturing them, it's capturing the audience, and then it's just moving everyone into the campaign automatically. Or at the same time, like I'm saying, then you can use that post data and that same post to, start your cadence of activities. Because, generally speaking, what will end up happening is when you push someone, if you're using like, a HeyReach or an AimFox, and you're going to like someone's post, all they're doing is pulling, one of the most recent posts that that person authored, and then pulling it in, and then you're liking that. And there's no guarantee that you're going to like that post that, that was used to bring that target into your campaign to begin with. So this presents that continuity, from liking the post to commenting on the post to engaging the author of the post and all that. It keeps all that context inside the campaign. So it's very useful, and it's somewhat unique inside this space. Now, keeping going. So then we're going to send the connection invite to, these are, again, any authors who are talking about cold email. We're going to send out the invite. And then it would move into the invite branch. And the invite branch is essentially just sitting there waiting to see, is an invite accepted or is it not accepted? And basically, for invite not accepted, we automatically drop this into withdrawal connection invites, and you set the time delay of how long you want it to wait. So maybe 14 days, maybe 30 days, but whenever it gets there, we'll withdraw the connection invite, because you're only going to be able to have so many outstanding invite connections with LinkedIn before they'll start disabling your ability to send more invites. And then with invite accepted, you can move into sending messages, doing voice notes, and all that, which I'll show you next. But this is just this kind of the flow for this particular campaign. Now, in using other tools and other platforms, one of the things I really always struggled with was understanding where everyone in my pipeline was actually at a given moment. So one of the things that we did was building this out was to give like a very robust view of what's going on with everyone, so you can easily see every single lead that's in, what the timeline is for what engagement's been handled, what hasn't been executed yet, if there's any errors, what they are they going to be retried? So all of that is inside this campaign targets view. And you can sort and filter, if you wanted to see anyone that's accepted your connection requests, you can break it down by different sources, and then, your senders too. So much like, and I'll show you this when we get to the edit mode, much like a lot of other folks in this space, and like Lead Forward, for example, with email, we do support sender rotation. So if you set up multiple LinkedIn senders inside of a single campaign, we'll automatically do a round robin load balance. So, any like lead that comes in gets split equally amongst those particular senders. So it gives you a little bit more throughput every single day. The overall reporting mechanisms, again, you can get a full, like with this view right now, it's showing me every single job that exists, everything that's been completed step by step. So I always know where things are at. We break things down by lead source, including post author and signal. So you can see, in this particular case, all we have is the initial breakdown for actions. But as, invites are accepted, as messages are sent, then you can see like a breakdown live over every single lead source to see, which signals are producing the most, positive replies or interested replies rather, which ones are leading to the most our highest invite acceptance rates, all this good stuff you can have right here in this view. And then a breakdown as well by every single sender. In this case, we only have one sender, that's me, but every single sender would then be, broken down as well. So you can get an idea of what's performing, what's not, and, make tweaks from there. So now what I'll show you is the actual campaign setup. So to edit, we got to go to pause, and then we'll go into edit mode for this one. So right off the bat, some, default simple campaign options. If a first degree connection ends up in your campaign, we'll detect it immediately, and you can optionally fast track them to the actual outreach steps. So that would bypass any invite. You can opt to just exclude first degree connections if that's, not what the purpose of your campaign is. You can end campaigns automatically when someone replies to a message or an InMail message on LinkedIn. This is on by default. It doesn't have to be. It's optional. There are some use cases where you may want to still continue your outreach even after someone replies. So you can, leave that to, a campaign by campaign basis. Our reply sentiment detection, it's optional. You can turn it on. We don't have any proprietary AI credits inside of getsignals. If you're already using getsignals, and you're probably already aware of that. So you can connect whatever your favorite large language model is, you can connect it, pick your model, and then your token expense is just handled directly through your LLM. We're not charging you any credits for using these features. We build the backend, and then we just run everything through your API key essentially. which you can add through integrations. Same goes for AI Writer, and the AI Writer can be used for uh, invite notes, for messages, for InMail, and for comments on posts. I will definitely show you that as well as soon as we get into the edit mode a little bit further. And this is the same idea. So we're just going to, select the large language model that's connected through the integrations and move right along with that. All right, so now sender selection. Let me just go in. So in this case, I just have one available. This is just one connected account. If you had others, they would be available here. And you can, like I said, you can select more than one, and then sender rotation would be enabled automatically. And now we get to our campaign flow. So in this example, this was exactly what I showed you before, except now we're in edit mode. So you can see like react to post, I have selected, so I'm the admin of lead forward and also get signals. So I can pick one of those and then pick my reaction type. Comments on post, same idea. If I wanted to, I could comment as get signals as well. I can personalize, like I was saying too with my use case, I like to tag my company page inside of comments. So you can tag your company page inside the comment for whichever orgs you are the admin of. And then you can also tag the post author. And that's valuable as well because it makes it look a little bit more authentic and less likely to be AI slop. So I definitely recommend doing that. For the AI prompt piece, I'll actually show you that in a different campaign where this is actually enabled. But the idea would be, and we give you some like templates that you can use, but it's a different tag that gets added in with a kind of like a prompt built in that you can, kind of customize and work around. And then we have a really cool preview tool so you can get an idea of the efficacy of the actual prompt, and you can see what it looks like with real data before you actually employ it. And then this is the invite branch, right? So if I didn't have anything in this example, I stopped at sending the connection invite. But had I proceeded, these are the different options that you can basically add into your campaign. So view profile, follow profile, react to post, comment to post, endorse skill. If you're doing any type of LinkedIn outreach now, you're probably more than familiar with all these different options. And then send message. This becomes available if someone accepts your invite, or if you happen to be targeting first degree connections, then this would be available. Same with sending your voice notes or sending a voice note. And then send InMail. This is disabled because I'm testing with a non-premium account right now. But if I was using my premium account, then this would be available, and you could do InMail. That of course you would use credits, but you would not be as restricted as you are with send message. You could send to people that you were not a first degree connection to. I was going to get to this a little bit later, but since it's now here, I will show you this. One of the, big value, if you're using, like lead forward, for example, you can actually make this multi-channel, right? So your campaign and get signals can become multi-channel. And the way I actually use this, and let me just show you there for accuracy, is I like using this after someone doesn't accept a invite. So I'm not able to engage with them on LinkedIn. So at that point, then I want to take it, off of the LinkedIn outreach, and then I want to take it to using like email, for example. So I can do that with lead forward, and I can select, any of my sequences to push people into. If someone was just a raw profile that I've added that isn't already an enriched contact inside of Get Signals, I can automatically toggle that so that process runs, and that gives you about 65 different data insights on someone. It grabs their entire profile, their company page profile data, and then it makes all those data points custom data properties that you can push those over to lead forward. But it gives us then the context to run our email finder, which you can enable here, and you can also use your lead forward email finder credits here as well. If you don't want to use Get Signals email finder, you can use lead forward, and you can use those credits here as well. So pushing people into lead forward automatically can be done, and it can be done at any. It doesn't have to be, I could see a use case where I may want to start by, after I, view someone's profile or follow their profile or send an invite, then immediately adding them to lead forward to start some email outreach while the LinkedIn outreach is going in tandem. So that is also a completely reasonable use case. So you have that flexibility. Now, let's just save. We'll remove this so I can go on to the next step. right. So now you have three main ways that you can add contacts into your campaign. The one is you can manually paste leads in. You can import a CSV file. We do have our CRM integrations with HubSpot and Adio, so you can use lists to pull in folks into your campaign. And then, of course, the third or the fourth really is using signals or AI agents to push anyone that is, surfaced through your signal into the campaign as well. And that's done through the signal configuration, which I'll show you next. So this is basically the builder. And again, it's probably, if you've used anything like this again before, this is probably exactly what you've come across in terms of the outbound, LinkedIn outreach functionality. All right, so let me find, I just want to quickly show you the AI writer components because I think those are useful and I'm not sure where I have this built. Let's see, did I do it here? Oh, that's not it. I'll probably fast forward through this part of the video so you guys aren't waiting around. Here we go. Okay, yeah, this is what I was looking for. Okay, so this is an example. See this inside of the double brackets, and I'll just call out exactly what's happening here. So this is a comment on a post. I'm mentioning the author of the post right off the bat, and then you see like this bracket starting with AI. So this is basically our prompt in here. And we do add some things into this as well, but you'll see there's variable tags as well. So for example, we want this comment to obviously be in the context of the post. So we're going to include the entire post inside the prompt for the large language model to consider. So this is like our writing, and we already put this together. So what I can do now is click on AI preview, and then what I can do is there's two different options for previewing, right? So I have saved contacts inside my Get Signals account. These came from Signal. So like if I wanted to do Adam Robinson, for example, it'll search through all of my different, saved contacts. And saved contacts are just enriched contacts that came from, past signals that I've run or are currently running. And once it picks them up, then I can use that particular contact's profile record as the sample or like use case for building out and processing this prompt, just so we can get an idea of what it's going to look like. All right, so there's Adam. All right, so now I've selected Adam. Now, the other option you could do is if you just have a LinkedIn profile that you want to use, you can paste it here. And it's important to understand, this is just for, lost Adam. This is just for running the sample. It's not going to actually trigger anything to, to either like if you put a profile in or if you selected a contact, it's not actually going to execute anything for them. It's literally just going to process the prompt so you can see what everything looks like. And it's going to give me two different views. One to show me what the fully merged prompt is, which is this. So you can see where it added in the full post here. Yeah, there we go. Got everything. Okay. So this is just to give you an idea of, what was sent in and then like our instructions, right? And then this is going to be the comment preview. So this is what would have actually been added if this was a live use case of, what would have been commented on for like Adam's post here. Now you can edit if you see something you don't like, you can edit your prompt here and make changes. But otherwise, this will just run on autopilot every single time an action queues up and a job queues up for commenting on a post. And it works the exact same way for message templates, note templates, for InMail, and then also for comments. And again, if you wanted to, you don't have to use a save. If you don't have a saved contact in Get Signals yet, you could pop in your LinkedIn profile. You can pop in any LinkedIn profile, and it will go in. It will find their data. It will pull in their most recent post just to build this sample for you. All right, let me look at my list and see what else I got here. Okay, now let me show you just how you get this data from like a signal into your campaign. So in this case, this was the example I created. So I'm only monitoring for posts that are mentioning cold email here. And the configuration here is just done under the integration steps for your Signal. If you're not familiar with Signals, let me know and I can share a video with you for that. But basically, this is a keyword-based signal where we're looking for anyone discussing a particular topic. In my case, it's cold email. And then anyone that authored a post on cold email that's the contact that I'm exporting for my campaign right now. And that's exactly what's happening right here. So you can see get signals is enabled, outreach campaigns. I'd already selected my campaign option, and that's exactly what I had just actually showed you. So this is the first entry point that you can use in terms of the automated approach. The other one is you can use AI agents. So for example, if you wanted to have an AI agent, so let's say we were running this same exact model. I'm looking for anyone discussing cold email, but let's say I wanted to make sure that they were a good ICP fit before I reached out or before I even bothered pushing them into a campaign. For that, I would use an AI agent. I would have the AI agent consider everything, their post context and what they were saying in their post, as well as their full LinkedIn profile. And if it was a match, then I would want to move them into my campaign. So if we go here, I got, here's one of them. So this is an AI agent I have that's for a demo. It's lead forward qualification agent. And basically I have a prompt, same idea, you're a sales expert, B2B company. This is the prompt instructions. This is all the data I'm pushing in here, which is going to include their bio, their headline, things like this, just to give the AI agent full context of who it is that I'm dealing with. I'd also include their post into that, to see are they just selling their services, or are they talking about best practices, or are they describing an issue that they're having with cold email? Maybe their emails are not making to the inbox. Maybe they need better data, so on and so forth. And then I would have it decide, this would be a good fit for, social signals or get signals or lead forward, that sort of thing. Now, in terms of the conditional action, so now this AI agent is tasked with coming out with a very simple output, either ICP true or ICP false. So if we wanted to, we could say, well, if it's ICP true, which is one of the tokens that it will respond with, then I want to move it into LinkedIn outreach. And I could select my campaign, and as simple as that. So, so you have this more advanced version where you can give all the context and all the control to an AI agent to decide whether the outreach makes sense. And you can pick the best campaign that makes sense for that. Okay, final piece, because I realize I've been probably taking up a lot of your time for just a launch announcement. But the final thing is our unified inbox. And the unified inbox is basically going to house in one place all of your conversations from any of your LinkedIn connected accounts. So you can see them all in one place and actually go back and forth with your particular contacts. So you can respond back to people, you can send attachments, you can send voice notes. So basically all the things you can do through your messaging app on LinkedIn through the mobile app or online, you can do that here. You can filter folks by lead status. So if you're using our automated sentiment detection, it's going to set lead status here automatically. So you can always filter by that. You can filter by specific senders. You can filter by campaigns. So this kind of becomes your central, communication hub for everything that's going on with your outreach. And you can also push people to integrations as well, like Lead Forward or Smart Lead or Instantly from this view. You can save them as enriched contacts if you need to. You can run our email finder. All of those things can be done through this view. Okay, so I think I've now taken about 40 minutes of your time. All that to say is this is a very huge announcement for us. We're really looking forward to seeing what people do with the functionality, with the availability of the outreach being built right in with the signals, adding that layer of context from the post, and all these really wonderful things that will hopefully give you a leg up as outbound just becomes more and more convoluted and difficult and noisy. And then, again, you can always lean on your AI agents to help separate the signal from the noise. So again, thanks for your time, everyone. And